Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. So we're going to give folks just another minute or so to join before we begin. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for the Intuit Insider Look series. So today we're going to be talking about a day in the life of a remote tax professional. So my name is Imani and I will be your host for today. Now just a few housekeeping items before we get started. Please note that the chat is disabled, but on the bottom of your screen, you'll see a Q&A box to use for your questions instead. Now we have a full team of professionals behind the scenes that will be answering questions live in the Q&A box during the webinar. Now we do our best to make sure we cover all of your questions. However, if we are near the end of the presentation and you still have not seen a response to your question, go ahead and ask away. And in case you do miss anything, we will be following up with the webinar recording after today's call. Now finally, you will also see a QR code on our slide deck. At any point during the presentation, feel free to scan the code and apply to be a TurboTax Live business tax professional if you're interested. We've also dropped the link to apply in the chat box. Now, and with that, let's kick things off. So as you can see on our agenda, we are going to cover a lot of details today. We want you to feel comfortable with the information that you are learning about Intuit, TurboTax Live, the roles that are available, and make sure you have a firm understanding of what you can expect when you do apply. So stay with us and ask lots of questions as they come up. This information will really help you get the full scope and background you need to be 100% certain when applying for a role with us. So we're going to start off with a round of introductions from our panelists so that you can get an idea of who you'll be hearing from today. We'll talk about Intuit, who we are as a company, as well as our mission. We'll talk about TurboTax Live and why this is an organization that you want to be a part of. You'll hear from a real-life TurboTax Live business tax expert, someone who was once in your shoes and thought this job could be a really good fit. So they applied, they went through the application process themselves, and has now turned this into a career. So the expert you'll be hearing from today is Carissa, who will talk to you about her journey going from an individual tax expert to a business tax expert here at Intuit. And finally, you will be hearing from a TurboTax Live recruiter who will tell you what it takes to apply and become part of our team. So Marissa will discuss the types of positions we are hiring for, including our TurboTax Live roles on the individual and business side, and the step-by-step process you'll follow from recruitment to onboarding, and also give us some helpful tips to follow for conducting a successful interview. Now, you'll also learn how you can get ahead of the game and have your application stand out from the crowd by taking supplementary free online tax courses from our very own Intuit Academy. And with any time that we have left at the end, I'll be sure to go through some Q&A to ensure that you have all of the information that you need in order to get yourself on our incredible team of experts. So it's now time to learn about who you'll be hearing from today. So I'd like to bring our amazing team of TurboTax Live panelists onto the stage to introduce themselves. Marissa, please join me. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Hi, you're doing good.
Awesome, awesome. Now, could you both please give us a quick introduction of yourselves, including your role and how long you've been with us, what you do here at Intuit, and where you're calling from today? Marissa, you want to go first?
Hi, I'm Carissa. I am calling in from Fort Worth, Texas today. I've been with Intuit since January 2021. Started on the individual side. I am now in the business role. I've got 15 years tax experience and I love working for TurboTax.
Nice, thank you.
Hi. Oops. And I'm Marissa. I didn't realize that was such a tongue twister until you said our names. I'm in my seventh tax season here as a recruiter with Intuit. I'm a senior professional recruiter. I've worked with multiple domains, including QuickBooks and TurboTax, and I'm calling in from Wisconsin.
Oh, awesome. Thank you both. And now a little bit about myself. I'm Imani again. I'm your host. I've had the pleasure of working and being part of this dynamic team for the past 12 seasons or so, working alongside an amazing team of recruiters responsible for hiring our TurboTax Live agents, as well as their leads and their seasonal managers. And I also spearhead hiring for TurboTax's community online writing team and serve as host for various info webinars, such as this one, where I get to help share all this great information about Intuit and how you can be part of our awesome TurboTax Live team. All right, so let's dive into our webinar and talk a little bit more about who Intuit is and our mission. So a little history here. Intuit's journey began about 40 years ago when our founder, Scott Cook, sat at his kitchen table and watched his wife as she struggled to balance their checkbook. So he thought there must be a better way to do this accounting. So Intuit is the culmination of that small idea, the concept of making everyday finance easier, which has evolved Intuit into a global technology giant in the financial services industry. So today we have 4 key products in our portfolio. We have TurboTax Live, QuickBooks Live, Credit Karma, and MailChimp. But we are still driven by the same core vision that founded this company. There must be a better way to help our customers financially. So TurboTax Live, which is the product that you're all here for today, is our largest and most well-known brand. In the US and Canada, TurboTax is by far the #1 do-it-yourself tax tool out there. You're all here today because of the fact that you have an interest in taxes and accounting, as well as an interest in becoming tax experts. So the reality is, if you're not doing someone's taxes, they're doing it themselves, and they are most likely using TurboTax to do it. So here at Intuit, we have over 50 million individual tax filers across the US alone who use TurboTax to do their taxes. So TurboTax really is the leader in this space. Now, Intuit's mission is powering prosperity around the world. This means with our consumers and with our customers, who could be anyone from your individual tax filer to a consumer who uses Credit Karma, or a small business owner looking to make sure they can manage their business financials. And in any of these cases, our goal for you is that they are each powering their own prosperity, that they are putting more money into their pockets, and that they're making sure that they can use their money as a tool to grow their own personal wealth and life in a way that ensures they're not living paycheck to paycheck. Rather, they know where their money is coming from and how it's growing. Now, powering prosperity around the world is everything from making sure our consumers are getting the biggest possible tax returns to making sure our small business owners globally are able to get the money they need to make their business a success. Each one of our 4 products is created with this mission in mind, helping people power their own prosperity. So you're probably wondering, why work for us? Well, Intuit is one of the top companies to work at. And I'll share why we're ranked a top company to work at from many distinguished organizations that have named us best place to work. So just this year, Fortune magazine ranked us number 23 on their 100 best companies to work for in the US. Now, over 7,500 companies are surveyed on the best place to work index on Fortune's 500 best. And guess what? Out of those 7,500 companies, we're ranked number 23. This has to do with many things: how we treat our employees, how our employees are evaluated, how they're paid, and the ability to make sure that each employee has a successful career in terms of job growth and recognition. There are many ways in which Intuit walks the walk and doesn't just talk the talk. A fun fact, we've been on this list for more than 20 years and almost exclusively in the top 20 places to work. Now, Forbes also lists Intuit as one of America's best employers for diversity. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are not just buzzwords for us. We've had a Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer for years. And this is core to who we are and runs deep throughout our organization. Now, we focus a great deal on equitability so that every employee has the opportunity to be successful in their career and that our team better represents the millions of customers that we support. Now, we've also been listed by Glassdoor's Best Places to Work, Employee Choice. And most recently, we've been listed as number 6 on the Best Large Workplaces list in financial services and insurance. And then I've already talked about how TurboTax Live is the #1 tax provider with over 50 million unique taxpayers filing tax returns each year. This is why we're looking for people like you who know taxes and are professionals in this area to come in and talk to our customers live on phones and sometimes on video. You'll help answer their questions about taxes and either assist them preparing their taxes or in some cases, actually doing their taxes for them. So let's zoom in a little bit and talk more about TurboTax Live. TurboTax just continues to grow year after year, which is why we're asking you to be here. We recently expanded our tax offerings from individual or personal tax to offering business taxes. So the need for TurboTax Live experts to join our team on both the personal and the business side continues to rise. And you'll be pleased to know that unlike other jobs in the market today, our roles here have been stable and continue to be resilient to the economy. Now, business tax has become a critical growth opportunity for Intuit, and it's viewed as our next $1 billion revenue opportunity. In fact, the addressable business tax market in the U.S. is $10 billion. And there is a $6 million small and medium-sized businesses in the U.S. alone. So this is a huge market opportunity for us. Business tax has also filled a huge gap in our Intuit product offerings. So prior to business tax, customers would come to us for payroll, for their bookkeeping, and for personal taxes. However, once they got their books ready, we'd have to send them out of network to get their partnership or S-Corp return completed. Now, for the first time ever, we have connected QuickBooks with the TurboTax platform for a seamless customer experience. So business tax is a great opportunity in today's market, especially as the tax market only continues to expand. All right, so what do you get if you come to work for us? I'd like to now bring on our TurboTax Live recruiter to speak to the benefits that you will get if you join our team of TurboTax Live experts, as well as the roles that are available. Marissa, can you join us back on stage?
Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So first and foremost, you'll get to work remote from your home or home office. This is a fully remote job. So as long as you're within the U.S., you can work where you like. You'll also be able to select a schedule that works best for you with our scheduling model. So for scheduling, during the tax season, we offer work schedules on a first come, first serve basis around our operating hours. The normal operating hours are 5 a.m. till 5 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. Extended season hours are going to be 7 days a week from 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. Pacific time, which is 8 a.m. until midnight Eastern time. And this normally starts mid-January through April. You must be able to commit to a minimum schedule of at least 20 hours a week. And there's a minimum of 4-hour blocks for those shifts throughout the tax season. Finally, it's a seasonal role. So if you already own your own accounting or bookkeeping business, you can keep your business and still come to work for us here at TurboTax Live. Just 4 months out of the year and get some extra income. And no matter what role you're in, we do offer some great benefits. So we offer a 401k savings plan and Intuit matching program. For every dollar you contribute, Intuit will contribute $1.25 up to 6%. And you're vested on day one. If you come back year after year, we continue to match over and over for you as you work through the season. We also have an employee stock purchase plan. So this gives you the opportunity to buy stock at employee prices. If you're interested in stock, take a look at how we're doing. This is a great benefit. And we also have an employee assistance program and paid sick leave. You also get product discounts and partial internet reimbursement. And all of these benefits are available to you, even though it's a seasonal 4 months out of the year job. Now, I'd like to share with you our positions available and then the qualifications for each of them as well. All right, so we have 2 open roles for business tax. Our business tax associate and business tax expert role. Our associate role requires 3 or more years of recent experience preparing federal and state business tax returns for at least 20 clients or customers per season, 2 or more seasons of paid personal tax preparation experience with a minimum of 30 tax returns per tax season, and a PTIN is also required. And our business tax expert role has the same requirements as that business tax associate position I just went over, but it also requires an active credential as a certified public accountant, or an enrolled agent, or practicing attorney. And lastly, for both roles, bookkeeping experience is strongly preferred. And just like our individual tax positions, these are all 100% virtual customer-facing roles. Now, I'll go ahead and pass it back to Imani for our first poll.
Thank you, Marissa. Appreciate that. All right. First poll. So if you are considering applying for one of our roles, tell us, do you have 3+ years of experience preparing federal and state business tax returns? Hopefully it's yes, that you have 3+ years preparing federal and state business tax returns, 1065s and or 1120Ss. Could be no, that you have less than 3 years of experience preparing federal and state business tax returns. Perhaps no, that you don't have, that you only have experience, I should say, preparing individual or personal tax returns, or you have no experience at all. Let's get those votes in. Just a few more seconds. All right, see those results. All right, so we have a fair amount of you, about 46% or so of you that don't have any paid experience yet, which is okay. This is all right. We have Marissa here that will tell us more about opportunities for folks who have very little to no experience. All right, so now it is time to hear from Carissa, a business tax expert here at Intuit, who started in individual taxes and has transitioned to business taxes this season. Now, before she and I get to connect, we'll play a short video playing that's featuring a day in the life of a TurboTax Live expert. Enjoy. right. Awesome. Love that video. All right. So now that you have seen a glimpse of what it's like to work here as a tax expert, I'd like to welcome back Carissa to the stage to get some insight from her on her career journey here within Intuit. Welcome, Carissa.
Thank you.
Awesome. Now, for those who may have just joined, can you remind us of what your role is here and how long that you've been working with Intuit?
Yes, absolutely. I have been with Intuit since January 2021. I started as a seasonal tax expert while I was also working a full-time job for a local accounting firm. My first season here at Intuit, I worked as a full service expert, which meant I prepared individual returns while also answering calls to help clients who were preparing their own tax returns. I worked seasonally with TurboTax until spring of 2023. And at that point, I was hired for a year round position. I also began working in the business tax department in spring 2023. And currently, I am working year round as a business tax select time expert.
Nice. Thank you for that. So we'd love to hear what a typical day looks like. Now, especially when you were in a seasonal position, what did your workday consist of, and what should folks on the call here expect if they move from, from individual perhaps into a seasonal business tax expert role?
Absolutely. So when I was just here seasonally and trying to work a second job, I would work a couple evenings a week and then I would try to work weekends because there is the 20-hour minimum requirement. But now that I'm here year round, my day typically starts out about 15 minutes before my shift, where I turn on my computer, get all my programs loaded. It does take a good 10 to 15 minutes to do this because, as I experienced this morning, sometimes things just aren't working right. And sometimes you have to reboot. But it's always good to get started early before your shift so that when your shift starts, you are ready to go available and start taking calls. As a full service expert, when I first began, I would prepare returns for our clients. Um, I will check my emails in the morning when I get started. I check to see if any of my clients that I'm currently working on have uploaded any new documents, sent me messages via our chat feature. Next, I usually check our Slack messages where, I check our team room to see if there's any news, anything I've missed since I logged out last. Um, and then once I'm done doing all of this, usually my 10 to 15 minutes is up and I turn my telephone tool to available and start taking calls.
Nice. Busy day.
Yes.
And when you first started working here at Intuit, what equipment and resources were provided?
Yes. So you're given a laptop, a camera, and a headset. You have pretty much, any kind of resource you can imagine. We have what we call Slack and Elevate. Those are our resource tools. You're provided with a tax book, as well as support from your team members. Sometimes your teammates and experts are your best source of knowledge. Get with your team, your manager, leads. They're always available to help answer questions and help you find the right answer when you get stuck in a situation.
That's awesome. Now, how has Intuit helped you grow your career?
Well, when I first started working here, like I said, I had a full-time job. I live in Texas, so I really only knew federal returns. I did not deal with a lot of state returns. Um, I loved working for TurboTax and I worked here in the spring, took the summer off. They called me back to come back in the fall. And I liked it so much that I ended up resigning from my full-time job to come here. Um, it ended up that, I worked seasonally for a couple years and then I ended up with a year-round position. And like I said, switched to the business tax side. I just completed my second year with TurboTax, about done with my second year pretty much full time. It's year round here. I will say though, since working here, I've learned a lot more about state returns, both individual and business, something I never really had before. I've worked here for almost 4 years, and I would say I've probably learned more in the last 4 years than 12 years combined of working at CPA and local accounting firms.
Wow, that's awesome. Awesome. Now, I'd like to shift our conversation a little bit from work over to our work culture here at
Mhm.
Intuit. So you've heard me speak about, Intuit's awards and brand recognition as a company, but
Yes.
we'd love to know your thoughts on the culture here. How would you describe it?
I love working here. I've always felt that Intuit is provides a healthy work environment. They treat their employees very well. They offer good compensation, and I love the benefits. I have sick pay, which I had never had prior to working at Intuit. Everybody I've ever worked with is very helpful. Managers here want you to succeed. And if you want to grow into leads or manager roles, they will help you get to that level. I personally have a great group on my team that I know that I can always go to bounce ideas off of.
Cool. Nice. All right. So what perks or benefits do you enjoy the most here?
There's so many. The 401k plan is really awesome. Like Marissa said, every dollar you put in, they match $1.25. We also have what is called spotlights, which you can get sometimes just by going above and beyond for your customers. You will earn those spotlights, and essentially they convert to gift cards that you can use for travel, restaurants. Some people like to use them for Amazon, just whatever kind of gift cards you like. Um, and then, like Marissa said, if you're here when we can do the stock buy, that's pretty awesome as well. Um, Another thing that I like is once in a while we get emails about perks at work where you can go and get discounts for items such as travel. Most recently, it was a couple months ago, I had used it for some hotel stays in San Francisco. And I shopped around. I definitely do my shopping around. And I found that I saved about $50 a night just by using that perks at
Wow,
work.
not bad. Not bad. And then what about working from home? What has this
Oh,
been like for you?
absolutely. I love working at home, which since moving to Texas 21 years ago, I've never really had much of a commute. I've not been one that wants to, drive into town for work. I've always had 5 to 10 minute commute. But working from home is pretty awesome. I can just get up in the morning, get my coffee, walk into my office. When I first started working from home, I thought there'd be a lot of distractions with kids, husband, dogs, whatever. Other than the occasional dog barking in the background on a call, working from home is pretty awesome. I also find that I'm a lot more productive working from home versus working in an office environment, and definitely love the flexibility of it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So any last piece of advice that you'd want to give the folks on this call who are thinking about taking that leap to Intuit?
I would say that it doesn't really matter if you have a few years of tax experience or 30 years of tax experience. Intuit is a great place to work. I started here just looking to earn some extra vacation money and get new experiences to, grow my career and ended up advancing to an amazing year-round position that is still very flexible. So if you are looking for something part-time during tax season, I think that this is the perfect place for you to work and learn and grow.
Awesome. All right. Well, Carissa, thank you so much for the incredible conversation. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right. So if anyone has any questions for Carissa, please go ahead and ask them in the Q&A chat. I know she will be very happy to respond to them. All right, so now it is time for our second poll. So after hearing from Carissa, tell us what interests you most about being a tax professional here at Intuit. Could it be earning incremental income? Perhaps it's growing your tax expertise. Maybe it's choosing a schedule that best suits you. Maybe it's working from the comfort of your home or being able to keep your own business and work for TurboTax Live. Now, could be all of the above, or maybe you're still not sure that this opportunity is right for you. Let's get those votes in. All All right, see those votes. All right, so we have about 69, about almost 70% of you, all of the above, of all those benefits. And then there's a few of you, maybe just about 1 or 2% who are still unsure at this time. Well, we're going to have Marissa up next, who's going to go through a lot more details and information for you. Hopefully, we'll get you on the side of joining the team. Marissa?
Awesome. Thank you. So I know we just went through a lot of information, but now we're going to go ahead and touch on how you join our community of TurboTax Live professionals. So once you meet our qualification and you apply to the role that interests you, you will receive an Intuit candidate portal email, which will allow you to add more information about yourself and to follow along in your hiring journey. You can also use the link inside the portal to be connected to a recruiter who will schedule a time for a phone screen with you. Now, once you're connected with the recruiter, they will go over some basic screening questions to help confirm that you are qualified for the role that you've applied for. And if not, they'll discuss an alternate role if there is one available. Your recruiter will also share information on our paid training, competitive pay rates, which, by the way, take into consideration your skills and experience, but are also regionally driven based on the states that you live and work in during the tax season. And then they will let you know about our end of the season performance bonus, which does differ based on the role that you are hired for. Finally, they will also go over our hours of operation, technical requirements, and answer any questions you may have before moving on to the next step. If you meet all the qualifications for the role that you've applied for and are still interested in moving forward, your recruiter will request a digital interview link be sent to you from HireVue, our digital interview team. Our interview process takes approximately 60 to 90 minutes and consists of a handful of video questions and several multiple choice questions. These are open book, so please be encouraged to use resources that you're familiar with, as well as a few recommendations you get from the team. And the best part is that you can complete your interview in the comfort of your own home or office when it's most convenient for you. Once you've submitted your digital interview, it will be evaluated by our hiring managers. And usually within about a week or so, your recruiter will hopefully receive successful results of your interview and reach out to you with a verbal offer. At which time your recruiter will confirm your pay rate and end of season bonus potential, seasonal start and end date, and as well as our training program. And of course, all other tasks needed to get your onboarding started. All right, so I do have some tips to help you prepare for your phone screen with your interview and have a successful interview using HireVue. Once you've applied, be prepared to hear from your recruiter anytime during normal business hours, or feel free to schedule the call using the candidate portal invite that you will receive when you do apply. Have your resume updated and ready to submit or review with your recruiter in preparation for your phone screen. If all goes well and you move forward with your screening, be prepared to conduct your digital interview within 24 to 48 hours after your phone screen. Now, once you have received that HireVue link, set aside at least 90 minutes in a quiet location and free from any possible distractions. Make sure you are using a hardwired desktop or laptop with audio and video capabilities. Feel free to use any research resources that you're familiar with, books, notes, or the internet. Your interview is going to be open book, but you cannot use the assistance of AI or human assistance. And then take advantage of the practice questions available and be prepared to explain your thought process. Finally, Remember, this is an interview. So be professional, project your stellar communication skills, and let your personality shine through. Also, don't forget to relax and have fun. All right. You have heard a lot about Intuit today. You've heard about who we are, our mission and benefits to working here, as well as the journey of our tax expert. And then from me, your recruiter, on the roles available, the requirements of each role, recruitment process you'll follow to hopefully becoming a part of the TurboTax Live team. But before I hand the mic back to Imani to conclude today's webinar, I wanted to take a couple more minutes to let you know about our training platform offered to tax professionals like yourself who are interested in additional training to either further stand out from the crowd. All right, we offer free tax courses through the Intuit Academy. If you're interested in learning more or beefing up your resume, this online training program is a great way to showcase your knowledge and get your resume in front of our recruiters. This free online training platform is your one-stop shop for all things related to learning, growing your tax career, and, like I mentioned, beefing up that resume. It is designed with a community-first approach where we offer free tax courses and exams. We do offer a business tax course and other specialty courses, such as cryptocurrency and equity compensation tax. And you can take all of our courses and exams at your own pace, at your own time. So apart from being free, what are the key incentives that the Intuit Academy offers? Well, first of all, you don't need prior experience to take this course. And as you know, in today's job market, not having enough experience can be a really tough hurdle to cross. The Intuit Academy can serve as a great starting point for you to get comfortable with the tax industry in general, so that you can learn it at your own pace and take the exams on a schedule that works for you. Secondly, if you do have prior tax experience, you're already at a huge advantage. You can either take the course or skip the course and go straight to the exam to showcase your knowledge. These courses can serve as a great refresher, as well as for those of you who, might already have lots of that tax experience we're looking for. So if you're interested, please do enroll. Get started on your learning journey and stand out for the job that you want with us here at Intuit. All right, now I am going to go ahead and end here and pass the mic back to our host so that they can wrap things up. Back to you, Imani.
Thank you, Marissa. All right, so now it is time for our third and last poll for today's webinar. All right, so we'd love to know, will you be applying to be a business tax professional today? Hopefully it's yes, that you do plan on applying for the business tax role and that this opportunity is a great fit for you. It could be no, that you don't have the experience required, but you'll get started on the Intuit Academy training. Or maybe you're still unsure. Let's get those votes in. All right, a few more seconds. All right, so we have about a little over half of you who don't have the experience yet, but loved what you heard about Intuit Academy and plan on logging in and getting some of those courses done. So hopefully you can join the team, which is awesome. Thank you for taking that last poll. All right, so now it does look like we're almost at time, but with the few minutes that we do have left, I'd like to welcome our panelists back onto the stage to answer a few commonly asked questions from our attendees. So, Marissa, would you join me back on the stage?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So first question is for Carissa. How broad do the business tax questions get? So tell us what type of business returns will they be expected to know, and what kind of schedules and forms do they need to be familiar with?
Yes, absolutely. In the business tax department for the online um, position you would be applying for, we only prepare and assist with partnerships and S corps. So those are the two main forms and schedules that you would need to know. Um, we also in the business tax department do prepare in full service so people can upload their documents to us. We do prepare for all 50 states. For the live business assisted, so those people who are trying to do their tax returns on their own in our online product, we do not currently offer to all 50 states, but that is coming. Some of the questions can be fairly basic, like they need help entering owner information. They might need to know where to enter their income and expenses. But they do get a little bit more complicated. Clients will call in needing help balancing their Schedule L. Other concerns that we tend to see quite often are K1 questions where their ownership isn't 100%. So they need help in the software and fixing that. It might just be a matter of they have two partners and they've only added one. They just need to add the other one. So it's navigating them to those areas in the software. Knowing the software is definitely going to help you, which you will be trained on. You will also be able to set up a dummy account so you can play in there and find where things go. Um, and also, we do have wonderful leads that if you get stuck on a call and you don't know how to help somebody, you always have a lead at your disposal to help with those tougher problems. But ideally, if you know basic tax for those two tax returns, you're perfect.
Awesome. Another kind of related question, does this position ever require cleaning up books before tax preparation?
Yes, it does. Um, for the most part, you really need to know how to do basic journal entries, such as how to book depreciation. Um, those that's the main ones. Once in a while, we'll have clients come in where they'll have negative expenses. You kind of just need to dig and see why. We do require that they have their books reconciled. So if they're not reconciled, we do ask the client to go back and reconcile their bank accounts, credit cards. If it's small items, we definitely can help them with journal entries. If their books are really messy, we will send them to a third party, either send them to QuickBooks or a local bookkeeper to help them, really get those things sorted out. So like I said, most of the journal entries are pretty basic, like depreciation, maybe moving officer salary out of the regular wages to a separate category. Definitely just need some basic bookkeeping experience though for this job.
Gotcha, makes sense. And then how are the customers billed for the service?
So it's similar to our other products where they will get billed at the end. So they will work through the product and the billing will be in the checkout process all the way at the end.
Nice, awesome. All right, let's get a couple of questions in for Marissa. So I don't have any tax experience or don't meet the required tax experience, the 2 years plus the 30 returns per season. So how do I get the training? How do I get a license or even more experience?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So I definitely recommend, you sign up with VITA to get some experience. However, we just went over our details about Intuit Academy. And as we just talked about, that is a free self-paced tax courses for all levels of experience through that program. So I would also suggest, embarking on that training experience because you're able to earn and promote badges. And then, of course, unlock future job opportunities with TurboTax Live.
Awesome. Another one for you, Marissa. Where must I reside to apply for this role?
Yeah, so anywhere you are comfortable with working from in the US is fine. However, if you do have another job while working with TTL, just make sure that, you coordinate your schedule accordingly, right? We went over the scheduling and everything. And then also we do ask that you work from a quiet and uninterrupted area.
Okay. You mentioned work hours and them being scheduled. How are they scheduled? Can they be broken up throughout the day?
Yeah. So you can do split shifts, but they do have to still be in that 4-hour block of time.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And what about training? Training, is that fixed during the day also, or is it flexible like the work schedule?
So training is about 17 days. It's paid training as well. It is going to be made up of a combination of self-led modules and then live video sessions. The video sessions will have many different time slots available for that period.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So Carissa, now, will there be many cases where we are actually preparing returns?
Yes, there are going to be several different queues. Some agents in the business tax will prepare returns and they will sign those returns on the customer's behalf. If you're a high scoring candidate from the video interview, you may be asked to prepare and sign returns. Other candidates will be just doing live business assisted and helping their customers through the software.
Gotcha. Another one for you. During your work hours, is it normal to get back-to-back calls? How quickly do they come in?
It definitely depends on the day. If it's towards, tax deadline day, yeah, you'll get them back to back. Otherwise, throughout the season, you may have, 5-10 minutes in between calls, but we are offered breaks, lunch. So even if it is a busy day and you're getting those back-to-back calls, then you'll still get your breaks.
Gotcha. Okay. And then for those calls, how much time do you get to solve each question? I mean, and do the research on it. Is there like an average time expected?
For me, it's however long the call takes. Sometimes I can get it resolved in 5 to 10 minutes. Some more complicated ones, I might be on the phone for an hour. Every call is so different. It depends.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Is there a quota that the employees need to meet each day?
There is not a quota. Just your metrics are taken into account. So you definitely want to do a really good job on that call. You don't want to rush through it. Make sure that the customer, their questions have all been answered.
Okay. Marissa, are there minimum work hours to qualify for benefits?
Yeah, so we are looking for a minimum commitment of 20 hours a week from our agents. And then with benefits, we don't offer, medical, dental, vision, but we do offer that participation in our 401k plan that we went over. And of course, discounts on various Intuit tax software. So that minimum requirement will be 20 hours a week.
Nice. Also for you, Marissa, what is the pay for these roles?
Yes. Your skills and expertise are definitely going to be taken into consideration. But pay is, driven by the state that you reside or work in. And there's also that end of the season performance bonus, which is, a great incentive as well. So to get the particular pay details, I suggest applying and talking to a TTL recruiter so that you can get the most accurate pay rate for you.
Definitely makes sense. And are the tax experts on the team self-employed or employees of Intuit?
Great question. This is a seasonal W-2 role with Intuit.
Okay. And can they do phone only?
Unfortunately, agents are not able to do phone only. This requires both phone and video for the agent.
Okay. Makes sense. All right, another one for you, Marissa. My CPA license is currently inactive. Do I need to reactivate it for this opportunity?
So if you're interested in applying for a tax expert role, then it does require an active credential. Otherwise, you can apply for our tax associate position.
Okay. Now, what about someone who worked as a tax associate last season, but they, since recently received their CPA and they want to return as a tax expert? How do they go through the application process, and do they have to go through the same interview process as last season?
Yes, so you do need to go through an interview process. You need to obviously submit an application to that role because it is going to be a different position. So we do need you to complete a new interview for the new role.
All right, awesome. I think you mentioned earlier a little bit about the EA program that we have. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, for tax associates who are interested in becoming an EA?
Yeah, absolutely. So Intuit offers a program that helps you prepare to take the EA exams and to obtain your EA credentials by providing access to study materials through an education provider that we have partnered with. So exam support and live support is available. And then Intuit does offer limited financial support to cover the cost of actually taking the EA exam as well.
Yeah, it's a great program. Carissa, each state has different tax laws. Are we required to know or understand them all?
No, we would never expect everybody to know everything about every state and every tax law. But we do have a lot of great resources out there to make it easier to assist customers from each state. And as I've said before, our leads are a fantastic resource. You would be required to have a knowledge of tax laws, concepts, and be familiar with 1040, 1065, 1120S, forms and schedules.
Gotcha. Now, if you are a CPA, who assumes the liability for the return that you assist? Does Intuit provide some type of liability insurance for their tax preparers?
Yes, if you are working with a TurboTax customer during your working hours, you are covered by Intuit.
Nice. All right. Marissa, let's see, one more question for you. Is it possible to work with TurboTax Live at the same time as working with QuickBooks Live?
So this is another great question, of course. So because these positions are going to be two different types of employment, you are not able to work in both of these roles consecutively. You also are not going to be able to work in the off season with QuickBooks and then come back over within the TurboTax Live group as well. So unfortunately, that's not something that's possible.
Gotcha. Okay. And one last question for you, Carissa. Outside of Intuit's research tools, can we also use our own resources, such as the Quick Finder, or I think you mentioned earlier that the Master Tax Book as a reference guide?
Yes, we do highly encourage using your own resources as long as they are authoritative and you've vetted them. We will provide a lot of useful tools. Google is one of them that I use. I just make sure to add IRS or TurboTax with my search. That is definitely one that I use along with Taxbook, IRS, Pubs, etc.
Nice. Okay. Awesome. Well, it does look like we are almost at time. I'm going to see if I can pick a few live questions from Q&A here. We are doing a really good job answering those Q&A, but let me see if I can pick up a couple. Let's see. All right, Lucy asks, when do the weekend hours start? Marissa, can you answer that one?
I was having a hard time getting off mute there. Oh my gosh. Yes. So you said weekend hours, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So that's going to be during the extended seasonal hours where we shift to the 7 days a week. And that would be 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific. And again, if we're moving that into the Eastern time zone, it'd be 8 a.m. till midnight. And then that is going to start mid-January through April.
Okay, thank you for that. Christina's asking, I currently have a full-time position, so how does the scheduling work? Is it set schedules to accommodate those that are seeking to add this type of role to their current obligations? Who would like to take that one?
I can take it because I've done it. So I did work usually split shifts. I would go to my full-time job and then I would pick a couple evenings during the week. Depending on what time zone you're in. If you're in Eastern time, you can work till midnight during peak. And then I would pick up some weekend hours as well. It's definitely possible. It's a lot though. But it's a great way to pick up 20 extra hours and, some extra money.
Okay. Marissa, this might be hopefully an easy one for you. Do you offer job opportunities for new graduates? Maybe a nice little plug for Intuit Academy again.
Yes, I'm loving all of the Intuit Academy attention today. So yes, like I mentioned, you don't have to have prior tax experience to begin your journey with Intuit Academy. And of course, we know not having experience is going to be rough when you are, out there in the job market looking for roles. So I highly suggest utilizing the Intuit Academy and everything that it does offer, because that is going to be that great starting point for you, to get comfortable in the tax industry just in general. And then it's also going to allow you to learn at your own pace, but then get that knowledge that you're looking for in order to apply for our roles here.
Awesome. Now, I was just about to conclude, but I have one really good question. Carissa, perhaps you could answer this one for us really quick. Could you work the bulk of your 20-hour minimum on the weekends only?
You definitely could. I know when the season would first begin, they would try to, make sure you weren't working more than 7.5-hour shifts, but between the 2 days, you could get your 15. But as we get busier and expand, you definitely can work 2 10s. They will usually expand those times out to 10, 12-hour days, especially as we get closer to the deadline. So yes, you absolutely could work most of those between Saturday and Sunday.
Awesome, awesome. All right, well, hey, we are now at time. So panelists, thank you so much for being with us today, answering all those questions. Thank you everybody for attending the webinar today. If you do have any last minute questions, please still go ahead and add them to chat now. If you enjoyed today's session and are interested in becoming a TurboTax business tax professional, please apply now using the link in the chat. Now, if you've already applied, but you haven't heard back from your recruiter, you can go ahead, add your name and your email into the chat now. We'll be sure to check on your status with your recruiters. Now, survey link has also been added in the chat, so please provide your feedback before you leave. We'd love to hear from you on how we did today and if we were able to answer all of your questions. All right, everybody, thanks again for joining us today. Please have a great rest of your day.